What's up, YouTube artists and aspiring artists? Mike here with Aerosotle Custom Spray Paint Art. Here's a glimpse at the finished product for today. We are painting a rainbow galaxy with some rainbow planets. Very simple painting to execute, so stick around and watch this thing come to life. We're just going to mark off where we want our planets to go. To create a planet, you're going to layer some light spray paint over your darker colors, vice versa. Light first, dark second. Throw a neutral on there and peel it back with either a plastic bag or a magazine sheet. From here I'm coming in with some light black spray paint and some darker Montana gold spray paint for my shading. I've popped down this little planet stencil in the middle. I'm using that to reference where my light source is going to be so my shading stays consistent. It's always good to know where that light is coming from. So as we work around, you probably guessed it, we're using rainbow color schemes, so we are going through and just doing kind of red all the way down the rainbow spectrum here, coming in and making sure we highlight and then shade each of our planets. If you want some further information on how to create awesome spray paint art and you're just getting started out, check out the beginner spray paint art tutorial series. There is a ton of info for beginners, and this will be an overview of how to create a painting like this. As you can see, we've worked in some green, some blue, into our purple, and a tiny little pink planet there on the left-hand side. Due to some heaters going in my garage, the paint dried pretty quick, so I do use Rustoleum Clear Coat here a few times just to make that paint a little more malleable and go back in for a second round of texturizing. Once we've got this laid out, we're going to come back in and shade those last four planets just to give that 3D look and make them pop. So with that, a little bit of Quick Color Black, that's Rustoleum cheap stuff at the bottom shelf of the hardware store. And then we're going to come in with some Montana Gold Black just to give that rich black for the very back end of the shadow line. From here, we're using different size, kind of in descending order, planet stencils, a couple of round cutout pieces of poster board there with some weights to hold them down, a few metal objects to make sure they have a thin edge, which will give us a nice clean result. And once we've done that, we're just going to go around the edge very lightly of each of these planets to make sure we get that nice round clean looking planet. Make sure you don't have any paint built up on these planet stencils from previous paintings, because that can definitely cause some obtuse looking planets. From here I'm going to map out just a general shape of how I want this spiral to go. There's no hard and fast rules here. Your painting doesn't have to look exactly like mine. One of the best parts of any form of art is playing around with different colors and techniques. So this is just to give you a jumping off point of how to create something similar. I'm using the stock caps for the Montana Gold cans pretty much exclusively, but here I am using a skinny cap. Basically, if you spray it one way, it's going to be a wide line. And if you spray it kind of up and down, you're getting these thin looking spots like I have here, and you can definitely learn how to utilize that to your benefit and play around with that skinny and that fat line in the same cap. With that, can control is key, so play around, learn how your spray paint can spray. If you have wind source or a fan going, factor that in because it's going to affect where the paint sprays. Matter of fact, you're going to start to see a lot of particles floating across the screen, partly due to the wide angle lens for this one. I'm painting on a full sheet of Art Skills poster board, 22 inch by 28 inch, and it wouldn't fit in my normal frame of view for my camera. But with that comes some headache as well. So the film quality is going to go down as we start to see these dust particles flying around. I've just faded from blue all the way back to kind of blue and purple in a spiral motion here. Now I'm coming in with some Montana Gold Black and just giving some negative space to this area, muting the colors out just a little bit, but also making it feel like it is a space scene and not just a rainbow portal. Not that there's anything wrong with that if that's a direction you want to go. I will in a little bit here, after adding our first layer of stars, come in and texturize some of this and make sure I can pull some of that black up and have the colors play around a little bit more effectively. So here I toss some white onto my fingers, flick it onto my poster board to give the effect of stars. One of the easiest techniques. Just don't flick too hard or you're going to be having lots of clumps and streaky results. Now I'm spraying some Rustoleum Clear Coat over some of these black layers, and I'm going to pull off some of that paint. That gives the effect of almost a nebula or a galaxy It kind of blends those colors and makes them really look like space gas, or that something more interesting is happening in the background. Again, you could use a plastic bag for this. I like it because I can fold it up into different shapes and sizes. You can use magazine sheets as well if you prefer that method. After I go through the center area here, texturizing, I am going to go in and do some light effects here with just quick color white. And then I'm going to come in with a couple Montana transparent colors. It kind of looks like clear coat on the screen here. QR dust and particles, that's what's flying across the screen right now. I'm going to add some lighting effects to these planets just to give them a little bit of pop. So with that, spraying just the edge of my planet stencil, not the poster board itself, and utilizing that overspray to get these cool little light bursts, if you will. And I'm going to touch a little bit of white on top of each of these as well. In this painting, one thing I do want to note is there's a few instances where I'm just not quite satisfied, so I play around a little bit more than I typically will. There's the Rustoleum Quick Color white, just adding a light source to our little kind of color backlighting effects on this painting. And you're going to see me come in and make a whole bunch more stars. I'm a big fan of layering these from different steps. It kind of gives more of a depth look to the stars. So I don't just do it once at the end. I'm doing it throughout the process to make sure you get a lot of little stars. From here, I'm using just a straight edge, spraying the bottom 20% of that straight edge, again, not right onto the poster board itself, to get this light burst effect, and then touching up the middle. I wasn't a fan of the way this came out, so you'll see me retool this in a few moments here. Keep in mind, all the dust and particles you're seeing flying across the screen, that's spray paint art particles. That's toxins, and you guys do not want to breathe that in, so please wear a mask. Here we're just revealing our planets. I'm coming back in and reshading any areas that need touch-ups. We can always add a little bit more shading, a little bit more of a clean look to these after we pull the planet stencils off. There's our biggest red planet and a general look of how this painting is going to turn out. Again, I'm coming in here just like I did with the galaxy. I'm just texturizing, pulling some of this white off. I had a bit too much paint. Then I'm coming in with Rustoleum transparents, bringing that rainbow vibe back to life here. I have a whole bunch of these colors. They're pretty fun to play with, and they go really well over top of white. So I'm just muting that out, my kind of happy little mistake there, and reworking it so I could do something a little bit different with the end result of the painting. Tossing in some transparent Montana here, coming back with a proper straight edge this time, and just doing a little bit more of a lighter touch and a little sunburst or starburst into the middle for a nice little result. I spray Rustoleum clear on the whole painting here. This helps keep it all vibrant and looking uniform. Sign your painting so people know who created it. And here's a glimpse at the final piece. Once you see it dried, once it kind of cures, that clear coat really helps bring these colors to life, the subtle effects in the background. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today. Make sure to hit the like button, make sure to subscribe, and until then, I'll see you guys again in a future spray paint art video.